Welcome to Foreigner Farming in the Philippines. I haven't done an update on our farm here in a long time because the fields are pretty much on autopilot. They're growing squash and bananas. There's not much new to report, but around the house here there's quite a bit going on of late. We've had Ippy come and help us for a few days, and we cleaned all this around the house here. What was our original garden area. That's where we grew most of our stuff for the first couple years, and because we'd been concentrating on just laser focused on the fields and getting them ready, up around the house here got kind of neglected. But the fields, like I said, are kind of on autopilot now, so we're fixing up this around the house. So what Ippy has done here, it's amazing the things they come up with. Those are peeled banana tree trunks. That's what she's using to make raised beds with. One there, and there's going to be one here now. Those quasi-raised beds there with the plastic on them, and we made the holes a little bit too big, and too many. So that plastic really just needs to be taken out, and we need to put in raised beds. This is the best soil that we've got here on the farm, what's around the house here, because we spent years enhancing this. Overall, there's probably, if we were just to have put it in at one time, there's probably 18 inches of these rice hulls here that have been mixed in with the soil. And they just got another couple of 3 inches, and that will be mixed in as well. This is the best ground we have now because we put so much organic matter into it that the soil now is even starting. It's still clay, but it's starting to turn black now. It's not the pale gray or orange that it was before. It's actually starting to look like soil. So a raised bed there, another raised bed here. Maricel has planted bok choy. She planted some onions right there. We've got some more to plant. There'll be more onions planted. She wants to plant, look, when we were over in Hitafi yesterday selling our squash, I went around and bought some things that we no longer grow here. I got tomatoes, onions, cabbage. We never have grown cabbage here because it would be tricky to grow it even if we had a greenhouse, a shade house to grow it in, because it's just so hot here. The problem is that things like broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage all want to bolt. They want to, because it's so hot, they want to make seed rather than make the stuff that we like to eat. But we're going to start planting some things that we can grow here, cheaper than we can buy them at the market. Not when you pay for labor, we can't raise them to make any money, but we can save money by growing a lot of our own vegetables. I think we might try some carrots in these raised beds again. We tried them in the raised bed down next to Tatay's house. We grew carrots, but they were kind of like Franken carrots. They did not do well. They were misshapen. I thought they would do well down there because of that raised bed had a lot of rice hulls in it, but not as much as this soil up here. So might try some carrots again, some radish. She's got bok choy, onion, and okra planted already. We're going to grow some tomato, eggplant, some oppo squash. What else did she say? There was a couple other things. We might, things that are not readily available, like corn. I say corn isn't readily available. You can get field corn here almost anywhere, but it's field corn. It's not sweet corn. And if we want sweet corn, I mean, I really can't eat it anymore, but everyone else loves it. We can grow corn here, and it always does well. So we'll probably grow some corn again, peppers. Much of the stuff that we had success growing before, cucumber. Part of the reason, there was a method to the madness of just letting this go fallow for basically a year, and that was in the hope that the blight would lessen if we quit planting stuff that was susceptible to blight. So we did for like a year. We haven't grown hardly anything up here except weeds. And well, we're going to try it again. It was to the point where the blight was so bad here, it was affecting almost everything. Couldn't grow tomatoes and get a harvest from them. Same with the cucumbers. You'd get one harvest, and by the time the first harvest was done, the plants were dying. Same with the Oppo squash. It was just out of control. So this area has been left fallow. Hopefully now the blight, as the blight gets in the soil, the virus gets in the soil. So hopefully now we can grow those things here again for a while. This is our orange tree here, the Landan, and it's got oranges all over it. Now we picked some of these before last year, and I don't know, they taste like an orange. They're kind of a cross between a mandarin and an orange, but they're not, the flavor just doesn't come out and bite you like it does on a mandarin. It's a real subtle orange flavor. And they're not incredibly sweet either. Maybe it's just our trees. We've got 2 of these. This one hasn't produced yet, but this one has had a lot of fruit on it, and it does again. It reminds me I need to fertilize this tree. And we've got one more somewhere. I think it's back over on the other side of the crayfish tanks. It's never produced either. I think we've just lucked out on this one because it's becoming a fairly prolific producer, as you can see. It's not from a lack of water. I think the small fruit size is just because of a lack of fertilizer. But it's planted in good soil. We'll get some off of it. The Limoncito, as you can see, are really prolific. The ones that have fruit on them. The ones that don't have fruit on them is because Marcel's come through and harvested it. But you can see most of these are just loaded down with them. This little patch here is enough to keep us in them, because we personally consume a large amount of Limoncito. It's just good. It's good on fish. It's good on your salad. It's just tasty. And so this little, I don't know, I think we originally planted like 130 trees. And I think from the drought and everything else, we've got maybe 90 left. 80 to 90. And that's just about enough to keep us in Limoncito. About once every 3 months, we'll have some extra, like a kilo or 2 extra, which we'll sell. But they're not, they're not really worth selling. You don't get that much for them. These are like 1 peso. And they produce, but nothing like something you could make a living on. Now, Commander Anselm, Commander Dowd, he's got hectares of these growing, and I hope he does very well. Maybe on a large scale like that, you could do well. But this basically is just enough for our personal needs. What I'm going to begin here soon, you can see I've already started after a fashion. These little mounds of dirt around these trees. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put basins around these, large basins, like a foot high and 6 feet across. The basins would almost be touching each other, so that they're easy to fertilize, they're easy to water, and inside the basins around these trees we can plant squash. A little dual cropping here. This soil has not had the same amount of love and care and rice hulls put in it as that over there. This, for the most part, just like maybe 4 inches overall, whereas probably 18 inches in this area over here. So the soil is not quite there yet, but this one little patch right in here was where we originally started the squash experiment. And I think I don't remember the exact numbers, but pretty close, over a 6-month period, we got almost 1,000 kilos of squash off of this one little area right here. Basically from where that cat is, over to the edge and back, because it produced and it just kept producing, and we planted them so thickly that we didn't have to worry about the weeds. So that's kind of the plan again, but I want to put basins around these trees so we can water and fertilize them properly. We've cleared all this area down here around the pond. What I would like to do, we're also, I put in an order with Wit for 500 tilapia fry. His worker is injured, so I don't know when I'm going to get them, but we're moving forward, probably 1 cage a month with the tilapia. And you know what I would like to do, you can see here where I originally dug this down. I was going to put little aquaponic greenhouses here, but never completed it. What I would like to do is like go back even, you know, just along the edge here, like maybe 6 feet wide, and flatten it all the way back to the back edge of the pond. Make it flat and put concrete down so that we have a flat, not muddy, not slippery work area to harvest the fish. The fish cages are going to be all along this bank, and I just want an area here to make it simpler. And these trees, of course, are going to have to come down. Those leaves in the water, I'm not liking it. And these trees really shed their leaves. I'm not worried about shading the water, because all along on that side is going to be where the duckweed is going to be growing. It's going to shade all that. And the net, these cages are going to have nets over the top to keep the tilapia from jumping out, because they will. And that'll provide shade as well. So we don't need all these trees around this pond. All they do is mess up the water. Put tannic acid in it from the leaves falling down and decaying in the water. I think Marcel wants to plant something in here, but I don't know what. Long ago, like 4 years ago, we had peppers planted in here, and this is, in fact, this is where my pepper tree was growing. It was growing right next to that coconut tree, and it was about 7 feet tall. It was taller than these and bushier than these Limoncito trees. And a palm frond from that coconut tree fell on it on the typhoon and killed it. It was over 3 years old and still producing peppers. Those little red, inch-long Thai chili peppers that will light you up. It was a pepper tree. The trunk on it was, I don't know, this big around. It was, I kept it around because it was amazing to me, because I come from an area where all your plants die in the fall, in the winter, from a freeze. And so all our pepper plants, you know, we had to replant again in the spring. But here, it never freezes. And so it just kept growing and kept producing. So yeah, we'll be sweetening up this area as well. You know what? That just gave me an idea. So look, where I was going to bring the soil from was this bank right there. Just basically take that down several feet all the way to that bamboo, and I was going to wheelbarrow the dirt up here for the basins. But since I'm going to be digging this out anyway, it would be much easier on me and my back if I just set the wheelbarrow up here and just shoveled into it. That way I've only got about 2 or 3 feet of elevation to push that wheelbarrow up, whereas if I came from down there where Nini is, it would be about 8 feet. So it'd be much easier. I'm glad I was just talking away on this video. That gave me the idea on how to do this the easy way. Well, the easier way. A shovel, dirt, and a wheelbarrow is never easy. But that's going to make it easier. So I can flatten this area out and use the soil up here around the trees. When I'm going to start that, I don't know, maybe Friday, Saturday. And it's, you know, my duty cycle isn't that long anymore. I can get 3 or 4 hours of shovel and wheelbarrow on a good day. So this could take me several months to get this the way that I want it, but it will happen. So that's kind of the update on the farm here, guys. At least the garden spot that's around the house. Thank you, everyone. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe.